Are we live?
I call to order this meeting of the Parks and Rec Board, July 22nd, 2025. The time is 6:01. Director?
Member Mapes. Member Wilson.
Present.
Member Troutman.
Present.
Member Keys.
Present.
Member Scott.
Present.
Member Cooper.
Present.
And Member Harrison.
Present.
And we have 2 absent. We do have quorum.
Let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I don't see any personal appearances. We'll move to consent agenda, approval of the minutes from May 13th, 2025.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I would like to approve the minutes as written for May 13th, 2025.
Hearing a first, do I have a second?
I second it.
Hearing a first and second, is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
What is that? 6 yeas, 1 abstain. And I'll turn it over to the director for staff report.
All right. Well, we'll let Mr. Rulo go first.
Everything okay?
I don't know. I didn't have a written report in
No,
here.
you
I do
didn't.
not
You
believe.
weren't here.
I was gone last week, but the guys have been out with the storms lately. We've had several tree limbs down. Seems like once a week we're going around getting more limbs down. Working on flower beds, getting weeds pulled out, trying to make them look a little bit better. We've been doing a lot of work with the contractor for the disc golf course, making some good headway on that finally. And just so everybody knows, the spray ground's been down for 2 days. We're having chemical issues. Hopefully that'll be fixed here in the next day, since we've had the hottest 2 days of the year and it's down. With that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions?
I have a question. You said chemical issues?
Yeah,
So does it get chlorinated just like a pool?
yes,
Oh, cool.
yeah,
Okay. I never knew that, so thank you.
yep.
I'm going to ask Mr. Brennan to do a recreation report. He was not here last week either, so he did not provide a written report.
It's got to be tough to run a department.
Well, as Mr. Mustine said, I did not submit a written report, but I did want to highlight on a few items that we have coming up here shortly. Hard to believe, because it feels like we just kind of started our summer program season. We are nearing our fall athletic registration deadline. So this upcoming Sunday, July 27th, is our registration deadline for baseball, softball, and our T-ball programs. The following Sunday, on August 3rd, we will have our recreational soccer deadline. And then the following Sunday, August 10th, is our deadline for flag football and volleyball. I also wanted to point out summer camp. After this week, we have 2 more weeks left. For the month of June, we kind of averaged around 50 participants. We've seen our numbers increase for the month of July with summer school ending at the end of June. We've been averaging around 80 participants for the month of July, and we've got 87 registered this week, and on Thursday we will be going to main event in Independence, Missouri. And then the last thing I wanted to highlight was this Friday at 6 o'clock we'll have our Friday Food Fest at Recreation Park. Some of the vendors that'll be there will be Shivers Ice, Depot Dog, La Chancla, Donut Envy, and Embrace the Grape. So with that concludes my verbal report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Thank you.
I was here last week, but I want to be consistent, so I did not do a written report. So, and with that, concludes staff reports. Any questions?
I'm glad everyone was on the same page last
Yes, I want to be, remain consistent.
week. I do not see any unfinished business. We will move to new business, the fiscal year 2026 schedule of fees, and I'll turn that back over to you, Mr. Director.
Thank you, sir. So the schedule of fees is our annual evaluation of the fees and charges that we do normally for rentals, Centerview, the rack, picnic shelters. It sets the cost structure for what we charge the public for those amenities. It also includes vendor fees, farmers market, things of that nature. We go through this every year, usually about midway through the fiscal year. So the last time we looked at this was February, is when we evaluated it. Within your packet, there's an attachment there. The items that are in red are the things that were changed from previous years or noted. And as we go through those, we usually do it about halfway through the year so that it gives us an idea of where we were in closeout of the previous fiscal year and what to look forward to. It also gives us an opportunity to just evaluate our income, our revenues for that year. Typically what will happen is we're looking at our projections and seeing where we need to make some adjustments. And then we bring this to you in a work session and make recommendations, and we talk through some stuff. You'll notice that there's some things crossed out on there that will be taken off that we implemented a few years ago, really didn't see any traction in that area. It didn't utilize that, so we crossed that out. The things in red are either additions or changes to what was previously used. Happy to answer any questions. I know this is probably new for a few of you who weren't here in February, so we can answer questions if you have any. What happens next is upon approval of this, if that is what the board chooses to do tonight, this will be submitted to the finance department. She will implement or input all of these figures into her system in the budget, and that'll be reflected on next year. What you have tonight is the schedule of fees plus our budget. We've already put those numbers in the budget. So what you're approving now will be reflected in our next item as we go through that. And I am happy to answer any questions if the board has any.
Just one question here. Underneath the pickleball courts, that's for our, inside the gymnasium. Are the courts outside are free, aren't they, or not?
The courts outside, it's free to the public for drop-in play. If you want to privately reserve them, then there's a fee for that, which we would put up a sign saying the courts are reserved for a private event. So, and it would be the same, function the same way within the rack, but we don't really do a whole lot on that in the rack. I mean, if we really don't even put the nets down for drop-in play. Yeah. If that becomes, so say the rack, if it becomes popular that they want to use that and we start seeing an increase of that, we'll probably come to the board and say, okay, this is really starting to happen. We should probably look at this because it's taking staff time to go in and convert the nets and get everything ready. But we're just not seeing that right now, so there's no need to implement that.
Hearing the schedule of fees for fiscal year 26, do I have a motion for approval?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we approve schedule of fees fiscal year 26 as written.
Hearing a first, do I have a second?
I second that.
Hearing a first and second, is there any discussion? All those in favor? Passes 7 with 2 absent. We'll move on to the budget recommendation of fiscal year 26.
Thank you, sir. The next item is our annual budget recommendation. This is the portion of the year where we take the budget that we've been working on, officially evaluate it as the board. Unless you have any changes or any suggestions, should you approve it, this goes next to the city manager's desk to do some final tweaking, if you will, to make sure that it's a zero balance budget, and it will be presented to the city council in the first work session of August. So it's about 3.5, 4 weeks away before the city council. You'll notice, and I usually put a recommendation, and this particular recommendation, you'll notice on this particular item, our operating budget and our capital budget, we do approve it, but we also approve it with the contingency that the city manager and I have the ability to make some changes in there and to ensure a zero balance budget, because we're required by law to provide that zero balance budget. Why we do that is by the time the park board sees this, there are certain numbers that we don't have in our hands yet. We don't know those, which would be property tax revenue projections, insurance costs, benefits like those. So those are things that we're doing the last minute before the council sees them, and we may need to make some changes with what we're recommending. We do the best we can with the numbers that we have. So essentially, when you look at this budget, you're really approving the the revenues and the programs that we are projecting. Those are the things that we're recommending to you. The other numbers, interest rates, gasoline costs, those types of things, those are based on last year. And those are what we go in and we adjust and change. That also includes revenues from, should our insurance costs come in, some of our bills lower. And last year we budgeted a certain amount. We have an excess in revenue, so it'll change some of those things. So we're giving you our best guess and asking you to give us permission to make those minor changes to make sure it's zero balanced. And then it will go through the city council process of their review and still 2 reads. So if we miss something, there's opportunity to go back and make adjustments and fix those if there's something that we didn't catch. With that, I will remind you, the board, that we did a pretty extensive look at the budget at our last work session. And so I think we answered a lot of the questions. We have not changed anything since that evening, so what you saw then is what you have before you tonight. And that concludes staff report.
Any questions for the director? Okay. Hearing the budget recommendation for fiscal year 26, and did you go over a little bit of the capital?
We'll do that next.
Okay. For fiscal year 26, the budget recommendation, do I have a motion to approve?
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we approve the budget recommendation for fiscal year 26 with the ability of the city manager or park director making changes to help balance the budget.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second that.
Hearing a first and second, is there any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous 7 with 2 absent. And we'll move on to item C, the fiscal year 26 capital improvement plan.
Thanks, sir. Our final item tonight is the capital plan. We have 2 funds for the capital plan. That would be Fund 47, which is our sales tax funding. That is the majority of where our projects come from. We did review these as well. Actually, we've been talking about projects for several months, but we did a pretty in-depth look at this program at our last work session. What we did not look at then was our parks fee in lieu. So I want to review that real quick with you. That would be your second attachment, park fee in lieu, Fund 27. This is money that is dedicated to us through development. So when a development comes in, they're required by code to provide a certain amount of acreage or they can designate a fee in lieu instead of, so if they don't want to give any parkland, they can just pay us, is essentially what it is. There's a formula for that, so for every acre or house dwelling, they owe a certain amount of money towards the park fee in lieu. That fee in lieu can only be used for park improvements or development of capital programs. So we can't take that money and use it for our programs or buy sports uniforms. It has to be for construction or improvements of construction type projects. The last thing that we budgeted out of the fee in lieu was, we've had two items. One is the dog park, $103,200. That money has been budgeted, designated. It is sitting in the account waiting for us to start that project this fall. And the other, we used $106,000 to basically go in half on our basketball court, which we've already built at Hawk Ridge Park. We did not, we have $136,377 in fund balance. We did not use that because we can go back and do a budget amendment in the year should we need additional funds at the dog park or something comes up and we need to make some improvements on something. I didn't want to designate that funding and kind of leave us empty-handed with no savings is essentially what we're doing. So we did not recommend any projects out of that. As long as that stays in there, we continue to see a payment. So you'll see up at the top, there's miscellaneous payments that come in every year. Those are developments that owed us a lot of money and they pay on them, and so we get a revenue. So as long as we don't use it, that fund balance continues to grow, and we can use it whenever we need to. So this is why you did not see this earlier this year. Our intentions was to leave this one alone for now. Second is our Fund 47 Park Sales Tax. This is our main account in which we transfer, let's see, this is our, yes, we transfer funding into this account to, or am I saying that backwards? I'm sorry. Got myself confused. Yeah, this is our main sales tax, and we transfer money out of this into operations to help offset. What is remaining is what we have left to do our projects. So on the fund balance sheet, at the bottom it says page 30 of 32, you'll see that it has, the first column says 2023 actual, those were projects from those years, and as you work your way over, we have last year's budget, what we project to end, and then the green item is what we are requesting for next year. These are the projects that we talked about. If you remember at our work session, I said every year we're really funding the next year and planning out the following four. And that's what, even though it's approved, what you're really approving is next year's projects and then the plan to do the following four. So next year's projects, as were discussed, is trails maintenance. That is we're a flow service, so money gets transferred in and it goes right back out to help pay our maintenance bonds on our trails. So we really don't see that other than we're just a pass-through on that. The next down is $164,000 for TB Hanna Station. Those are just general improvements at TB Hanna. That mostly it would be a lot of tree work and consulting, hiring a consulting firm to help finalize the next project. Because if you look just to the right of that, in FY27, you'll see $431,795. That is for the final phase of TB Hanna, so you got that. And then if you go down one more line, you see $130,000. That's our park signage program, which we waited a long time to do. Now that we've got our parks pretty much built out, we can implement that, and then we'll supplement signs as we go. The only change that you'll see from a couple nights, or at our last work session, man, I'm sorry, I'm getting choked up here. then 2 years, if you go 2 years across, you'll see 255,000 for the baseball concession stand renovations. And then the next year, you'll see 160,000 for the baseball shade structure replacement. When we talked a few weeks ago, those two projects were in 1 year. Well, when we put it all together and we did our revenue projections and all that, after about 3 years, we didn't have any money and we were below our 20% required for fund balance. So we basically can't do that. It's against the law to do that. So in order to stay above that 20% and to build our fund balance back up, I split those two projects into 2 years, and it just kind of pushed our plan out. Once we build that fund balance back up, we can make those changes in the next couple of years of making adjustments to those projects. But in order to stay within the law and keep that 20%, we had to split those projects up. So that is the change that, the only change that was made from the last time that we met during our work session. Happy to answer any questions. I apologize that one's brought to you tonight and wasn't done in the work session. We just didn't know it until last week when we were finalizing this program. So other than that, our projects are set, and I'm happy to answer any questions on the projects, on the budget of that, how we got to this point. And after this, this will go into the program, the capital improvement program. Again, like our last budget, the motion, we are requesting that the motion also gives allowance for the city manager and I to make those changes. If we find out that we don't need to split those, we can bring them back together. The projects won't change. It'll just be the funding year cycle that we can make changes and go back to what we had talked about. If that makes sense. Hopefully I said that to where everybody understands that. I know what it means right here. I got it.
Well, that's pretty important.
It's very important.
Do you foresee splitting those two out at affecting any other projects?
The only thing that it really affects is that it just pushes everything back a year. But it doesn't change what we're doing currently for this next fiscal year.
Any other questions? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve fiscal year 26 capital improvement plan?
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to approve fiscal year 26 capital improvement plan with the ability of the city manager or parks director making changes to balance the budget.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Hearing a first and second, do we have any discussion? No? We'll move to vote. All those in favor? I see 7 yeas, 2 absent. I don't see anyone for public comment. We'll move to board member comment, and I'll start to my left with Dan.
Just one comment. Just want to thank staff for all your hard work on the budget. It's a lot of work, and it looks really good. I'm happy with the way it turned out, so thank you.
Mike?
Just a couple of other upcoming events that we didn't mention. The early part of August is we won't be meeting until these events come up. We've got the Rugged Raymore coming up, which will be over at Hawks Ridge. And then on the 8th of August, we've got a concert for all you folks that like to get out in the fresh air and enjoy the entertainment that we have available. So we hope you all take advantage of those two events also.
Will we see you dancing?
Well,
Steve?
but I'm sure it'll be a good time.
Yeah. Steve, anything?
Real quick, I just want to mention, and a lot of board members here are newer to the board and so forth, but we've just saw in action how we're constantly moving on our feet when it comes to budgets, capital improvements and so forth. I know that we had somebody in my ward, Ward 4, ask about bathrooms out at Rec Park, and I think everybody here would 100% agree we would love to redo those tomorrow. I know Mr. Rulo and his group would, as they constantly change things out of there. But as you can see by our budget, we are restricted by how much money we have, good or bad. We would like to fix everything and get everything going and add everything, but we have to stay within these budget. And I appreciate staff working so hard back and forth, and there's still yeoman's work to do on it. But again, unfortunately, money doesn't fall from the trees, and if it does, I need to know which tree it is and if you guys got one. But I do appreciate staying within that budget. Thanks.
Thank you. Ken?
Just in general, I think that this city has one of the greatest park systems in the whole Kansas City area. I mean, I interact with a guy who's on the park board at another city that's adjacent to us. And he can't talk like we can, like how smooth it goes and how fluid things are, and just what a good job you guys and all your people do to keep the parks up and running and all good. And Todd, my hat's off to you for all what you do with so many kids. That's crazy good. So that's something to be proud of. That's all.
Regina, anything?
I mean, I guess I just second everybody's opinion of, you know, how great our parks are, right? It's something to be proud of in Raymore. So I'm honored to be a part of this board, and, you know, I know how hard it is to put together a budget, so commend you all on that as well. That's it from me. Thank you.
Chris?
I got one thing. So the Parks Department has been out at the Ridge doing some legit mowing, spraying, maintenance, and trails look really good. I appreciate that, and the guys that ride bikes do appreciate that too. So good work out there for sure.
Thank you. I'll just repeat everything that everyone said. Just thank you guys for all the hard work. I know it's a lot to do, and I appreciate, and hopefully people know that there's a legality standpoint too of a certain budget you have to stay in and all of that too. It's not just, oh, we don't want to go do things. We want to do them all. There's just a time and a place to get everything up to snuff. So with that, we will move. Do I now? Yeah. Before we adjourn, I will ask the director, do we have a reason to go into executive meeting?
We do actually have a reason to go into executive session. First note, though, although it's not approved minutes, but in the work session notes from June 24th, it is not listed that Member Wilson was there, so I'll make those corrections and make sure it's updated. We want to make sure Mike gets all the credit for being there. He deserves that.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, we do need to go into executive session real quick. So what we'll do is a roll call to adjourn, basically leave this meeting, go into executive session. We'll turn the cameras off. We'll have our meeting, and then during executive session, we'll adjourn and we'll be complete. So while I'm doing roll call, Greta will turn the cameras off for us. So
Thanks, Greta.
Member Mapes. Member Wilson. Yeah, your vote is yes or no as to go into, sorry, I didn't make that clear. Member Trautman.
Yes.
Member Keys.
Yes.
Member Scott.
Yes.
Member Cooper.
Yes.
Member Harrison.